Professor Caplan, thank you so much for coming to speak to us this evening. Why do civil wars recur with such frequency?
Well, one reason, which we discussed this evening, is that civil wars increasingly are terminated by peace agreements and ceasefires, and these are more unstable outcomes than military victories, which represent often total defeat of the opposing party and therefore reduce or eliminate the possibility for resumption of a civil war. But with a peace agreement, there is a greater possibility for civil war to restart.
And what are the potential implications of such high rates of recurrence for international strategy?
Well, again, what we discussed this evening was the importance of identifying ways in which international agents, third parties, but also domestic parties can consolidate peace, so to strengthen peace agreements. One way is to design more inclusive peace agreements so that an electoral victory, for instance, doesn't mean a total defeat of the parties to a conflict. Also to provide guarantees, third-party guarantees of agreements in the form maybe of peacekeepers or in the form of diplomatic guarantees, and also to provide aid in ways that would address some of the root causes of the conflict to begin with.
Why is the recurrence of civil conflict such an important topic of concern?
Well, it's clear that conflict-affected countries, countries that have experienced civil wars, countries that are emerging from civil wars, suffer in terms of development much more than countries that haven't been burdened by civil war. So in terms of overcoming poverty, conflict-affected countries are much worse off in terms of poverty. No single conflict-affected country has achieved Millennium Development Goal, for instance. It matters in terms of the cost to the international community. The peacekeeping, UN peacekeeping, costs about $8 billion a year, deploying about 100,000 armed personnel. So there are also destabilizing effects in the region. So it's not restricted just to a single country, but it may have consequences for the broader region because the conflict isn't always contained. So for all these reasons, I think it's important to give attention from an international policy standpoint to these conflicts.
Thank you very much.